Welcome to Talking Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana, an Englishman in San Diego, and this is a bucket of tea. Look at the size of this thing. It's kind of required this week. It's been one of those weeks where all sorts of things have been happening in the background. But we're here now, and we're getting closer and closer. It is the 10th of May, 2015. I haven't done a countdown of how many days we're talking. I really should kind of have... This is the kind of week it's been. I haven't really checked on how long it's been, mostly because if I do...
59 days.
59 days. If I think about it too hard, a small throbbing starts happening on the side of my temples, and there's a purple mist that happens. It's quite disturbing. Welcome along. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. If you're watching via the Google Plus event, as always, do click on the Q&A button and join in. It's a roundtable event, as always. We want your participation in the Hangout. Ask any questions you like. Let us know where you're watching from, of course, because it is Comic-Con International after all. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, unfortunately, we don't pay attention to the comments, unfortunately. But if you want to add comments after the event, of course, we'll answer any questions that you have. But, of course, do let us know what you want to talk about. If you want to interact on the Twitters, the hashtag is CupOTSDCC. You can contact myself, which is Englishman SDCC, or you can contact any of our guests. I've got two fantastic people who have joined us today. First and foremost, yes, fantastic people. I meant you. We have ourselves... Yes, you. We have Alyssa from the friendsofcci.com/forum. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
It's been a week and a half. I can only say that I hope that we all, and this goes out to the whole geekosphere, get everything, all of the bad juju out of the way now before July comes around, so we can have a pleasant July.
That makes sense. I mean, are we still... I mean, parking, I presume, is out of the way. All done and dusted. Is that done?
No, we're at group... I believe Group 3 is going on sale tomorrow, and we suspect that there may be some underground parking still available if you get in first thing. We don't know how much. Consequently, we suspect that the Hilton will also be available to folks too.
Fair enough.
But it...
oh, go on.
It looks as though that our estimations of how many people were in a group were off, so we don't quite know how to project forward. We can't say, okay, in Group 4 we think you're going to have blank spots available. So everybody keeps wanting to know, will I be able to do this, or will I be able to do that? And unfortunately, it's the classic CCI answer of, I don't know.
I mean, where's the communication mostly coming from? Is it from CCI or is it from Ace Parking at this point? Or is there any communication happening at all?
To be honest with you, I don't know. Mostly what we're doing is just trying to gather information and post it on the forum. And there's enough people who are interested in parking so that we've got a big enough database, data pool of info to go on. But it seems like, people are getting the parking spots that they want.
Cool.
So we'll see how that goes tomorrow and the following Monday.
Of course, we'll do a full report on that, of course, next week as well. And New York City Comic-Con tickets, which is this week. Oh my God! I have just seen all the colour leave Alyssa's face. That's almost impressive. Are you okay?
It's going to be. It will be interesting. I mean, I'm thinking that we're in the 2000, and I think Zero on the forum coined this phrase. We're basically in San Diego of 2012 in terms of ticket buying, with the the time-stamped logins and the waiting room. So as I said before, the big thing is that ShowClicks has a lot of other shows that they do, so they're used to the traffic. But we will see what happens at 12 noon Wednesday afternoon.
Yep.
That's D-Day.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I think if anybody has any questions regarding New York City Comic Con and also parking situation in San Diego, jump them in on the Q&A. We'd love to hear from you. I don't know, actually, if our next guest is heading to New York or if he's planning to. We've got Jesse from the Nerd Truth joining us. Jesse Lynn, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Leonard? Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, I am planning on going to New York Comic Con, but like Alyssa said, Wednesday, we'll see how it all works out. So
yes.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed for everybody.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Now, one of the main reasons why I've asked Jesse to join us is because he has been on a couple of occasions my erstwhile line buddy when it comes to a couple of rather epic Hall H and Ballroom 20 lines. So, yeah, we'll be covering all that in a second. That is what we're primarily talking about today. We'll cover all the headlines, as it were, when it comes to this week's news in a second. But if you do want to jump in on this is the first of our SDCC Toolkits. That's the hashtag as well, SDCC Toolkit. Basically, what we're doing is episodes centered around elements of San Diego Comic-Con, especially if you're going as a first-timer, if you want to ask any questions about a topic. This week's is Hall H, Ballroom 20, 6 BCF, 6A, Indigo. It's the big rooms. Because we have had people asking, okay, how does lines work? What was the business with wristbands last year? Where's the best place to sit? Do I have to really queue up so early to get in the rooms? That's what we're talking about. So, SDCC Toolkit. That's the hashtag. Okay? If you want to jump in on that, and of course we'll try and take the questions on Cup of Tea SDCC as well. So, that's the plan. What we're going to talk about very quickly first then is the headlines of the last 7 days. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Tuesday if you were watching. Apologies for not doing the Hangout last Sunday, but thank you very much indeed. We've had a couple of questions off the back of that, especially regards to Nerd HQ. If you've been paying attention to your Twitters, we had a announcement very, very shortly before we went on air, which is IGN, the tech website, are doing a team-up with the Nerd Machine to do the live streaming for all of the Conversations for a Cause panels for Nerd HQ, which means Nerd HQ is going ahead as planned. It's going to be having the Nerd HQ setup that we know and love. We're going to be having panels. We don't know when, where, and we don't know who. We don't know the kind of the nitty-gritty. We don't know the basics, but it's happening. So there's finally there's no ambiguity. We also had the tweet from Conmen as well, the Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion web series that's coming. They were also mentioning we're going to be at Nerd HQ. That was going to be a kind of given if Nathan Fillion's involved. But look, it's great news. It means that it's going to be happening. I say again that it's going to be a very reduced scale. It's certainly not going to be the Petco Park setup that we have enjoyed for the last couple of years, but it's going ahead. So that's all good news. What's everyone's take on this? Because I don't know if have you ever been to Nerd HQ?
I have not.
Because you've always been kind of tied up.
Well, yeah, I'm very convention-centric. But interestingly, what the forum is saying, DKD has said that the Children's Museum has been floated as a venue, primarily because Zachary and his partner Dave had posted a picture in front of that museum on Twitter. So that's how I guess that's how that rumor has gotten started.
That's just teasing. That's nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cracksback goes on to say that the architecture is not perhaps good, and somebody else is saying that it's like a 250 to 300 person venue. So.
Wow. So, well, that's the size of your panels then. Or if not, we're going to have some very, very small panels this year.
Hey, maybe that's why they're putting them out there on the IGN is teaming up with them.
Sure.
That would be great.
If
I'd love to see that.
If they do that, I can imagine though they may be even pay-per-view, because they'll want to try and raise as much money as possible. So.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah.
Have you been to any of the Nerd HQ panels, Jesse?
No, I never have. Actually, last year was the first time I've ever been in Nerd HQ, and it was for maybe a half hour. I did a walkthrough, looked at some things, and then had to get back to the Hall H line. But what I'm wondering
what was your take on it?
I actually liked it a lot. I thought if I would have had time, I wouldn't mind doing panels at Nerd HQ. It's just that, like Alyssa, I'm very convention-centric, and I spend a lot of my time in Hall H and Ballroom 20, so it's really hard to go back and forth between the two venues. But I think there's the one thing I'm wondering, if they're not doing it at Petco this year and they're looking for venues, didn't they used to do it at Jolt and Joe's? Was it?
They did, but for the last, certainly last year was, I was about to say, but last year it was Geek and Sundry that took over Jolt and Joe's. But they ain't going to be there this year. You're right, because they're going to be at Petco Park. They're with Nerdist.
For Nerd HQ, would going back to Jolt and Joe's be a step down, or would they try? Do you think they would try to look for a venue that is bigger than that? But obviously, they're not going to get anything as big as Petco.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it being a step down. At the end of the day, I don't think they've got much of a choice. Mm-hmm. It's just a case of they haven't been able to. It's such a investment to do Petco Park, and Nerd HQ and Nerd Machine have proven that they, as a business, aren't as financially strong to do something like Petco over an extended period. So I think that was just pretty much that's the way it was going to be. I think the reason, I mean, we've talked about this before on the Hangout. The reason why Nerdist and Geek and Sundry make sense is because they have a tanker load of money which can be brought in from Legendary. So there's all that kind of thing that can help when you've got that much money in the bank supporting you. So yeah, if anyone hears of any other stories or any other news regarding Nerd HQ, I'm certain that we'd all love to hear it, but we're going to be paying attention to that as well. But that's what we've heard so far. IGN are doing live streaming from the panels. So we've got panels, we've got conversations for a cause. It is going ahead. So that's one. Right, I'm going to give you a choice now. Would you like to talk Mattel, or would you like to talk Disney? What do you want to talk first?
I would say Disney, because I don't do toys, so Mattel's a little bit out of my jurisdiction.
So you just want to rip the plaster off straight away.
Just go for it.
Rip that off and just crack on with it. Okay, D23 is the massive Disney Expo convention that takes place, I believe, in October. It is getting restructured in terms of its panel sizes. They are putting together a massive arena to match the size of Hall H. They have announced that they are going to be doing confirmed panels for Star Wars and for the Marvel Studios properties. This pretty much guarantees, finally, that they are not going to be doing any Marvel Studios events and panels at Comic-Con. And it pretty much also puts paid to any of my statements on Tuesday that I think there's going to be quite the presence for Star Wars in Hall H. Because they're going to save it. They're going to save it for D23. It's so disappointing. What's everyone's take been? Have you spotted any news or any comments that you've seen where you've just gone, any disappointments?
A few people, yeah. I've been massively disappointed about that. I think, I don't know, I forget who said this, but somebody, well, there goes my Saturday Hall H plans.
Yeah, it's just been, well, I mean, it's something we're going to be talking about in a second in terms of the lines and talking about the hype that Hall H has got over the last couple of years. And certainly having that massive, well, a series of massive panels on the Saturday has led to that kind of that hysteria that goes off around Hall H. I mean, we all kind of remember the need to have wristbands for 2014, which we're going to cover very shortly indeed. It's just been such a shame that. Here's your reminder for today at 2014. Excuse me. Yes.
Uh-oh.
That, believe it or not, was Siri trying to create a reminder for something. Siri, you don't know what on earth you're talking about, so shut up, you.
You gotta love Apple.
Oh, strange creature. Go away. Anyway, no, I don't want to create a reminder about getting my own wristbands. Go away. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the train of thought was then. Completely lost myself.
The D23 announcement, it really seems as though that it's taken the wind out of the Hall H plans for Saturday. And it's going to be interesting to see how that all percolates through, whether or not the Game of Thrones and the television kind of steps in, or who steps in, you know, to do that. I can't imagine that Marvel won't have something there. Maybe it's just a few trailers in the trailer park. I don't know.
Sure.
You know, but that's but not the big wraparound that they had a year or two ago.
Yeah.
With regards to that. Jesse, you're way more tuned into the Hall H lineup.
Hysteria.
Do you have any thoughts on what they could put in there to supplant? No, perhaps that's the wrong word. To
Not
take
really.
over.
Not really.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to supplant Marvel because Marvel's such a huge presence. Personally,
DC?
I really think it's going to be Warner Brothers and DC as the opening because, as we know, they have their slate lined up, and they really need to do something to generate the buzz because obviously the announcement of the movies last October didn't really generate the buzz like Marvel did a few weeks earlier. So they have to do something with that. They'd be foolish not to. Excuse me. I'm really, really hoping that Fox moves to Saturday because obviously they have Deadpool. Deadpool is going to be, for the fans especially, a huge movie, and I think for them to be in Hall H on Saturday would be very smart. And then they have a few other films coming out like The Martian, which is a Ridley Scott movie that would generate buzz. The one panel that it's not been announced obviously, but what I'm kind of hoping for would be Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight.
Ooh.
Because he brought Django in 2012. I think he could bring that movie to San Diego. I think he probably will. But those are, at the moment, those are the three things that I can think of. Because we know also Fox has X-Men coming out next year, so that would be another big film they could bring for Saturday.
They're full on in the production of that film as well. I mean, I don't know if I've been getting big into Periscope, and I did catch Bryan Singer's live Periscope where he was announcing the road cut of Days of Future Past. It's great because I love Periscope, if anything, because you do have people showing up on camera and they're going, so what you're recording is for? So, no, this is being broadcast live on the internet. No, I don't understand it. I don't know. What do you mean broadcast live? And they just get very confused. It's fantastic. Brian kind of gets what was going on, so hopefully I'm going to be seeing some more Periscopes from him. But he seemed very excited about what he was ready to present, and he seemed, certainly for Days of Future Past, understandably, for his legal issues, he kind of receded into the background. And I think that was also Fox ordered as well. That it was kind of, okay, you need to just kind of stay in the shadows for a little while. I think they'll want to come out and do another big panel like they did for Days of Future Past, because that was just such... I mean, for all of the things that happened around Hall H that day, that was the big one. To have that cast on that stage was just immense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think you're right. I think they'll do something with that. I think Alyssa's right that to replace Marvel is going to be awkward, but I think that it's going to be more television. I think there's some kind of Hollywood backlash, and I think the success of the television panels for the last 2 years has really kind of had a resurgence. There's something happening there.
I mean, wacky idea, Netflix? Or you think that's still a Ballroom 20?
I think that is a Ballroom. It lives in Ballroom 20. That's just We have got one or two people asking about what the SDCC Toolkit is, and someone saying all of this is sounding Greek to me. Don't worry, we're getting there. Don't worry.
Play it back after we talk about lines.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Don't worry about it. Okay.
So, I had one thing to add real quick, talking about Netflix. I honestly wonder if they wouldn't save those shows for New York Comic Con, because last year when they brought Daredevil to New York, they said, we chose to bring Daredevil to New York because this is New York City, Daredevil's backyard. And Jessica Jones is also New York.
Sure.
So, you know.
No, that makes sense. But I think also Netflix,
the more pressure for Wednesday to get those tickets. Thank you.
Yeah. But I think that also, I totally understand and agree that, but I also think Netflix, if they were going to do a panel of their own, they recognize the money involved and also the shop front element of Comic-Con. They recognize that is where the world's media turns to. It's certainly obviously New York City Comic-Con is making strides in that, but it's still at the moment San Diego's party. So I don't know. I'm still fingers crossed for a panel for Netflix, and I think it's got the content to do it. So I'm up for it. Cool. Okay. Anything else?
So how to get wristbands for Hall H?
Yeah, we'll cover that in a second. We'll get there. Okay. Very quickly, and this is where I'm desperately hoping that I can kind of do this without doing that whole Twilight Zone screen of death thing. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm trying to avoid. Basically, I want to show the images which have come from Mattel. This is the first of the big exclusives. Obviously, a lot of people are excited about what you can see first at San Diego, and only at San Diego, supposedly. You know, before it shows up on eBay 3 days later. But there has been this first announcement. Let me just see if I can just pull up the screen share, because this is where it all goes Twilight Zone on us. It's fun as this bit. Oh, there we are. I can just do that. Okay, share. So, first things first. This is the Egon Spengler. This is to wrap up the licensing that Mattel have Mattel have with Ghostbusters. Let me just pull up my This is all from MattyCollector.com, by the way. And like I say, this is from Ghostbusters 2. This is from the courtyard, so the court scene of the film. It's the courtroom battle, and it's a 6-inch figure paying tribute to Harold Ramis, who created the character of Egon Spengler. And I think it looks really cool, actually. What's everyone's thoughts on that? I think it's a really nice figure. No, I think it's really nice.
It doesn't look half bad, to be honest with you.
I think it's a really nice tribute, and I think it's rather fitting that it's the last thing that has been chosen to do. I think that's rather cool. Let me just put that. Yeah. So go on.
I have to pass. I'm going to be passing on. I'm going to attempt to be passing on all things Maddie this convention. What will get me will be Hot Wheels. So the 3 things, and I'm assuming that you're going to put the other 2 releases up there. I'm going to pass on unless I could get the hover robots.
Which we will go to now. We'll do that now. Okay.
Unless I can get those for, in the $20 price point, then I may succumb to that because those guys are just really cute.
Now, these were sold only during the February 2015 Early Access sale. They are everyone's favorites drones of destruction, and joining the list of products available for pickup at San Diego Comic-Con. Each pack comes with 3 sets of hands, a sticker sheet, and 3 stands. These are the Hover Robots 3-pack.
Yeah.
So that's those there. Now, the thing is, being a Brit, I don't know what on earth they are, but they look cute.
Yeah, and I'm probably gonna, if I do think about those guys, I'm probably gonna wait till about 6 months after the con to buy them, unless I luck into the all access, being able to get them in the all access sale, which is going to occur June 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So what that means is perhaps the other 12 items that we assume, including the Monster High dolls, that we assume Maddie is going to announce will be announced in the next 20 days.
Oh, yes. That is yeah, for anyone who's new to collectibles, this is just the beginning. This is, there's going to be a lot. So.
There's another series of 3 that's coming out by another group, and I'm going to see if I could find it, which basically has, and I can't put a picture up like Leonard does, but it's of 3 slugs.
Okay.
It's basically just like this, with slugs with attitudes. I'm going to put a link up to it in the Q&A.
Right, let me just very quickly then do the other items, which are, this is Masters of the Universe, this is Rotar versus Twistoid. This is a former palace guard wounded in battle. Rotar was merged with an android body, resulting in Fists of Fury. Fueled by his hyperspin powers, he now protects Eternia as one of the Masters of the Universe, which is, of course, ruled over by a boy with a blonde perm and a very strange gym cut. Very, very weird. And not homoerotic in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's those 2. Rotar's nemesis Twistoid is a gyro robot which serves Skeletor. Using super spinning action, Twistoid wields a ball and chain, twirling sword, and terror gears to defeat his enemies. Very quickly then, to get hold of these, there is a early access sale. This is for the Club Eternia subscribers only. That takes place on the Thursday the 28th of May, from 8 a.m. Pacific all the way through till the Friday, the next day at 8 a.m. There's the All Access, which is open for everybody. That happens on the 1st of June, and it's on Monday. It's for a week, and it opens at 9 a.m. Pacific, and then you pick up at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, but all of the hot stuff is going to be sold probably within the first 30 seconds. It's very much New York Comic-Con ticket, San Diego ticket. Mentality. You've got to approach it with that same attention.
Sure.
I put the link up to those slugs that I was talking about, which turn out to be by Kid Robot.
Okay. Cool. We'll also put these the comments in the YouTube description, and also I'll put them in the Google Plus event as well. So there we go. Right, so that's the Mattel and Disney stuff all sorted out. Also, very quickly to talk about panels. This is something that got announced on Wednesday, Thursday. It started getting a little bit of buzz on Twitter because people were getting emails through from CCI that their panels had been confirmed. This means that they are starting to structure and shape what's happening at San Diego Comic-Con. At this time, 2 months out, it's starting to take shape. And next week, of course, don't forget as well, we're talking the final 5, or tomorrow, the final 5 guests, this final 5 special guests. So this is it. This is the ball. It's rolling, and it's getting quite exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let's very quickly cover 1 or 2 of the questions in Q&A. Let's see what is coming up. I think most of these are actually questions coming in regarding our toolkit. But we have got a question here from Michael Leventhal. Hello, Michael. How are you doing, sir? Could another studio come in, like Lionsgate, Legendary, or another mid-level studio? I'm certain that Lionsgate and Legendary are absolutely thrilled to hear them being called that, but there we go. I think
Legendary will be there, actually.
Legendary will be there. I'm hoping desperately that they rethink about how they approach their panels after last year, because it was the dampest squib going off. I mean, you were in the room as well, Jesse. Yes, it had been a long Friday to get into Hall H for Saturday, but you still got 6,000 people in a room, which, if you say the right words, you're peeling them off the ceiling. I mean, we had a rather sparse trailer or teaser for Batman vs Superman, which was 6-7 shots worth of PlayStation 4 cutscene.
Now, don't diss that trailer now.
I'm not going to diss that trailer because I know that you'll cross the water and beat the crap out of me. But even that short little teaser, you were peeling them off the ceiling. Then the Legendary panel side, and you had some big hitters. You had Michael Mann, a goddamn legend. You had Arthur Miller bringing out a brilliant piece of showreel for Fury Road. It was all, the content was there. Okay, Black Hat, bit iffy, and the film
Crimson Peak.
Yeah. You had all of this, and then you had Jessica Chobot come out and just kill it dead. I don't know how the hell she did it. It was so, I don't understand how the hell it happened. No, she just picked up the microphone, walked out there, and everyone just went, yeah. You felt the air leave the room. It was so depressing.
And I'm a Jessica Chobot fan, so sadly, that makes me sad that that happened, because she should have, she should have owned that,
Oh yeah, I mean, you watch Nerdist News. You stick her in front of a camera, she flies. She's brilliant. Stick her in front of a crowd, and my God, it landed so poor. So Legendary, absolutely. Lionsgate. Now, that's a good call because, of course, Lionsgate are pairing up with San Diego Comic-Con for Comic-Con International to create that video-on-demand service. So there's going to be a big thing there. Lionsgate have got their feet under the table. So that, yeah, you're right. They could have a massive presence. So there we go. Thanks for the question, Michael. Let's see who else we've got very quickly on the Q&A.
Somebody has suggested Vacation. The humor. The Warner Brothers may bring Vacation.
Yeah,
it's possible.
I've seen the Red Band trailer. Yeah, I can't unwatch it. Seeing. No, it's not that. It's just that I'm a married heterosexual male, and to see Chris Hemsworth showing off his Molineer was, yeah, okay. This is where the wife starts questioning me now. But yeah, that could be. I mean, we've had other non-fantasy films show up at Comic-Con. And yeah, it could be something that. Who does anyone know which studio is behind it? Is it MTV?
I thought I saw
Not MTV.
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that
because they own the rights to Vacation, don't they? So it would have to be Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. Neil Williamson has just asked, but what are Lionsgate releasing? Considering that we didn't really know prior to San Diego Comic-Con 2014, I mean, the As Above, So Below was kind of fresh out the gate. Certainly the Godzilla 2 stuff was a little bit out the gate. Oh, good grief, I've just remembered something. That bloody King Kong film.
Yes, yes.
The ultimate psych out. Alyssa, you weren't in the room. It was the last thing they did at the panel. We were all hoping for Jurassic World. They did a fly-in of a rather mysterious-looking island. We're going, get in, Jurassic World. King Kong movie.
Yes.
Oh.
There were boos. There were boos.
Oh man, if some people from Legendary didn't lose a job by the end of that panel, I'd be very surprised. Terrible. Okay.
I have my Jaeger Pilot on today. My Jaeger Pilot shirt on today.
I watched. It was on Sky Movies the other day, and every time it comes on, I watch it. Pacific Rim. We could have a Pacific Rim too.
About Lionsgate, now they do have the Hunger Games Catching Fire Part 2 that comes out in November. That's going to be the final movie in that franchise. So they could very well bring that to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That makes sense.
James Ormston's turning around and saying the last Hunger Games as well. You're absolutely right. Or is it somebody else? It is a Lionsgate film. Yeah, Neil's turning around. It's okay having them back SDCC, but do they have any movies big enough to wow the crowd? So that's the question, I suppose. So okay, cool. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, I think we're just everyone's just marking time until we can start talking about SDCC Toolkit. Okay, this is where we start talking about the big rooms, and what we're going to be covering in this section is Hall H, Ballroom 20, Room BCF, Indigo, and 6A. These are the big panel rooms which attract a lot of attention in terms of lines queuing up for them. Also the events and content that they have in those particular rooms. I've been in 3 of them. I've certainly been 4 of them. Sorry, tell a lie. I've been in Indigo. I've been in Room 6 BCF, and I've been in Ballroom 20. And yes, I have done Hall H. So I think where we can start is. I think I'll go to Jesse, and we'll start from somebody who did Hall H for the first time as part of his first Comic-Con 2 years ago?
2012, so 3 years ago, yeah.
Okay. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
It does.
Okay, so I mean, I think a lot of people, when they think about Hall H, they think about the line. They think about the camping out. And a lot of people do ask, I mean, I do know that the main reason why I wanted to do these is because people were asking, do we have to camp out? What is so special about Hall H that it attracts so much attention? So I think, Jesse, if you give us kind of like what you experienced that first year.
Well, the first year, the thing I wanted to go in and see most, I think, was Man of Steel and Marvel and The Hobbit. So obviously I was very, very, very excited for Man of Steel because I'm a big DC fan. But the thing that, aside from that and The Hobbit, the thing that stood out to me the most in that room that day was Robert Downey Jr.'s triumphant entrance from the back to Luther Vandross music on stage.
Oh, is that one? You guys had
that was the thing that stood out the most to me that day. But do you want to talk about as far as lining up for it?
We'll talk about lining up for it, absolutely. So
Okay.
Hall H. Well, we'll cover each room in order. We'll start with the big boy. We'll start with Hall H. Hall H is a 6,000 capacity arena. It's actually part of the exhibition floor. If you go to Google Maps, where you can do the internal tour of the exhibition center, you can actually get to a section right at the back where just behind where the stage would be, and you can see that it is actually just part of the exhibition floor. They just bring the separating walls across, bring down the curtain, and turn it into a separate arena section. 6,500. The lines form at the back of the convention center, first through the grassed area, which is called the tents, or when the tents are erected on the Wednesday, snaking down the grassed area, crossing the road, and then basically forming down around the back of the convention center, and if it's a popular day, all the way down to the back of the marina. Mm-hmm. That's depending on how busy and how popular it is. For the last 5 years, or 4 years, it has been immensely popular, and that's kind of started, I'd say, from 2010, when Kevin Feige brought out the entire Avengers cast ahead of the release of the Avengers. It was the first time. Oh.
That was my first year, and I had experience with that particular one, if I may jump in here.
Go for it.
I, on a whim, not knowing anything about Hall H, decided on Saturday morning of that day to wait in line. I got in line at about 9 o'clock in the morning. I was across the street, just behind the convention center, so not even to the parking lot that is on Convention Way. And I did not get in for the first panel, which was the sorcerer, the Harry Potter panel. Yeah.
Deathly Hallows.
But I was able to get in at probably after that, or 1 or so o'clock in the afternoon, in time for the Marvel panel. That was the feeling in 2010, that you could, with a couple of hours, get into it. I'm guessing the following year it was a bit harder. I had to get in line, I think at 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, in 2012. I don't know about 13, because I think I skipped 13, Hall H.
Yeah.
Did you do it, Jesse?
Yes, I did, yeah.
When
let's see.
He nods there with the resigned look of a veteran there.
For 13, I think we lined up on Friday night about 7 p.m.
So that was really the start of it.
Yeah.
The real big overnight. I mean, there's been overnight camping for years for Hall H and indeed Ballroom 20. But I'd say, yeah, you're right. I'd say from about 2012, 2013, to certainly get into that first panel, it was starting to look like it was an overnight thing. Because people do basically queue up from the first, get into Hall H for the first panel and stay there for the duration of the day. Let's talk about more the mechanics of Hall H. So whatever time you get into your line, the doors usually open. Everyone correct me if I'm completely wrong on this, okay? So here we go. I'm going at the times. The doors usually open at 9 o'clock, which gives everyone time to get in, get their seats, get themselves sorted as to where everybody is and what seat they're going to get. And then everything kicks off around, I'd say, 10 o'clock. So it gives us an hour to get everyone settled. It's 6,500 people at the end of the day. They've got to try and get in the room. Well, that's on the Fridays and Saturdays. If you are wanting to get an idea of what Hall H is all about, walk in on Thursday. You will find that Thursday and Sunday is more, you can just walk in. It's completely dependent on the panels, of course, but certainly. Well, okay.
Doctor Who is Supernatural on Sunday. A walk-in?
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that too, because I remember in 2013 people were lining up for Sunday at about 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So, Doctor Who, Who and Supernatural.
What's that?
Stop it.
Alonzi?
Oh, no, I've no idea what on earth you're just talking French now. I've no idea what. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Thursday then. Okay. Well, let's put it this way: the panel which everyone was queuing up about, and which everyone talks about the death of Comic-Con, Twilight. I walked into it on the Thursday 2011. I just walked in. It gives you an idea, even if you just get in there and have a look at it. Because the one thing about Hall H, and this is the reason why people keep going back, you have 6,000 people with all of that energy and excitement. It's like any major concert. It's like any major event. But you have a rock star up there on stage, and you have a rotation of rock stars. I think the best kind of description I could give it is like Live Aid, where you had this constant rotation of superstars just showing up on stage. And you get that build of excitement. That's what Hall H is, and that's the reason why certainly people get excited about Hall H and Ballroom 20. It's just that sheer epic scale of 6,500 people in the room seeing things which no one else is going to see for another 5-6 months, if not the rest. So, yeah.
So wristbands.
Wristbands. This is something that was introduced in 2014, and it was an attempt to try and allow people to get their space in the line, make sure that there were no line cutting, and also allow people to get their wristbands and come back if need be. A way of, say, if there's a group of 3 or 4 people, you could get your wristbands, and people could then disappear, either have a shower, go and see something else, whatever, and then come back. At least then there's a way of indicating that you were in that line at that time. They did it in...
Didn't they start passing the wristbands out at around, wasn't it 6 o'clock? The idea was that they were going to start passing them out at around, and correct me, Jesse, if I'm wrong, around 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and they were going to pass them out to everybody, and then you could go away and come back, but nobody went away.
That was it.
Yeah. I think it was 6 or 6:30 they started giving them out. Yeah, and once you get your wristband, then you can go and shower or go do something else and come back. But if you don't have your wristband, then you can't cut. I don't think anybody went away, to be honest with you. No. I know I did for a little bit. But
well, I know I disappeared to see the Eisners.
Yeah.
But I think the other great thing about it as well is it does stop people from cutting in the line. In that you can't have 2 people or 1 person show up, get in the line, and then at 9 o'clock in the morning, a group of 8 people showing up to join the line because they ain't got their wristbands. It's just the way it works. It was a great idea in principle, and they kind of had to amend how they implemented it between the Friday and the Saturday. There was an almost quick change about how it was done. And I'm trying to remember exactly what the mechanics was, but I think it's like you say, Alyssa, people got their wristbands and then just stayed anyway. So it kind of, it didn't negate the whole thing, but it certainly got a bit awkward for a while.
I think it illustrates, oddly enough, it illustrates how much people at San Diego Comic-Con enjoy the lines, which is counterintuitive to everything else out there.
And I can speak from experience because I love lining up. It's fun. It's a great way to meet other people and to have the same like mind and talk to everyone.
It was really fun last year as well, and the great thing about it as well, it was nicely mild. It was ideal camping weather. It was just. Then again, this is between myself and Jesse, who are on the grass.
Yeah,
true. To say, if you have seen pictures of people down on the at the back of the convention center, and certainly heading down the marina, that's concrete and it's straight breeze off the bay, so that's not as fun. But yeah.
And I can't imagine people enjoying waiting in lines like in New York City in October, the way that you would enjoy the lines in San Diego. So it's going to be interesting to see how it gets implemented, how the wristband idea gets implemented this year. David Glanzer, actually, one of my forum members had asked, I've got the new section, asked David, and it asked about if there was going to be any tweaks, possibilities that the wristband style system would be implemented for Ballroom 20. And what David responded was, we are looking at this and are still trying to determine whether or not to try it again. We should know better as we get closer to the show. As for implementing this in other parts of the show, well, I think if we decide to move forward on this again for Hall H, then we may explore the possibility of expanding it to Ballroom 20, which would throw a whole different timbre on the other line that is
I think you're absolutely right. And not only that, but I think it's the original concept, I think, of getting your wristband and then being able to move away from the line. Ballroom 20 is one line which, if anyone does that overnight, I think I only did it once, and even then I kind of joined in very late at night. It was for the Firefly reunion panel,
right.
And I joined very early in the morning, but I didn't do the full overnight thing. The thing about the Ballroom 20 line is it snakes out front of the convention center and all the way down the front of the front doors, which means you are basically camping outside of a bus station. It's with the shuttle service that runs 24 hours free of charge. You are constantly getting all the buses going past, all the shuttles going past, which I personally don't think is very healthy to start with. It's almost a form of torture, and I'm really hoping that the original intention. I know what the original intention or the proposed intention for the wristbands was, which was to have a gauge of how many people are in the line. Right. The idea being that they hand out a certain number of wristbands, they then know where people or where the line is getting to in terms of who is going to be able to get into the hall. That was the initial intention, but I still think it could be used as a case of, okay, here's your wristband, go and get some sleep or get away from this area because it's just not good for you at the end of the day.
Now,
admittedly, we're still going to get people queuing up because they want to get front and center.
Last year, they didn't do wristbands in Ballroom 20, but they did do cards. I don't know if you got one or not. If you lined up for Ballroom 20, but they gave you a card that showed which panel you were going to be getting into first.
Oh. Now, that was something that was introduced on the Saturday. Yes, indeed. Because they didn't do it on the Friday, but I think they then did it on the Saturday because they recognized that was something that they needed to introduce.
They did it on Thursday actually because that was the first day I was in for Hannibal. So and they did it for the.
I don't know nothing, me.
I missed that.
Okay.
Because I was in line for Exclusives Thursday night, and I didn't. I guess that goes to show how many people. I mean, since it is the everything line, how many people are in there for either Ballroom 20 or the Exclusives. So you really can't gauge who's, what that line is about.
Yeah.
Which is also unfortunate, and why the wristbands there might be some problem with people who are going for Exclusives initially, and they say, and the person that comes through with the wristband says, oh, do you want to go see Agent of Carter? And you say, oh, sure, why not? I'm in line for the Exclusive, so I might as well go see Agent of Carter too, which is kind of defeats the purpose for queuing up because, you've got a person next to you who's absolutely going for Agent Carter and doesn't want the Exclusives, if that makes any sense.
No,
right.
Yeah.
Let's go through a couple of questions very quickly on the Q&A. This is from Charlotte Allen. I've got a Thursday and Sunday badge. If you guys had this, would you queue up overnight for a big Hall H panel or use the time for other things? This is a first timer. if you've got a Thursday and Sunday badge, certainly for Thursday, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it again, I think you can just walk in. Even some big panels that they had in on Thursday, and remember, this is last year they had Christopher Nolan show up for Interstellar, and it was a case of you could just pretty much walk in. Obviously, we're going to have disagreements about Sunday. What I would say for Sunday is I would, unless there's something in there that you absolutely want to see, I would use it for something else. I mean, there's certainly more to see around San Diego and the convention center, the exhibition floor itself as well. I'd certainly take the time to go check that out. So, I mean, if you've got a Thursday and a Sunday badge, I think you've got the options to see some stuff in Hall H, but you can get around and check it out. Any disagreements there?
I would actually come at it from a slightly different perspective and say, look at the panels that are there, and if it's something that you really want to see, then go see it, you know, and plan accordingly. If there is a Ballroom 20, no, not Ballroom 20 on Sunday. What am I thinking? Ballroom 20 is not open Sunday. But if there's a Hall H,
I was going to come on to that, but yeah.
If there is a Hall H panel on Sunday that you want to see, then queue up for it and do it. But if it's kind of like meh, then do as Leonard said and wander by there Thursday afternoon and see if you can walk in. I mean, I happened to see Harrison Ford that way, which was really cool. But this was in 2010. Yeah.
Movies are still terrible. Well, now they are.
Excuse me, I'm going to mute myself for a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yes, I think that was a little bit of editorial comment from Alyssa's son there. You see, this is where Mother's Day kicks in, you see. They just get it all entitled. They think they can just jump in. But yes, Cowboys and Aliens was pretty cool.
I'll agree with what Alyssa says. I think it all depends on what is in that room that day. That, you know, if you want to go see it, then definitely check it out. But if not, then I mean, you could get a lot of floor time in even on Thursday. But I know now last year I had to line. I was in Ballroom 20 on Thursday, and I had to line up Wednesday night at 11 p.m. because the line had already started to get long. So
there is a slightly different perspective from your side because you do like to get pretty close to the front as well.
True. Yes. I like to sit as close as I can because I feel like if I'm paying this much for a badge, I want to be able to see these actors and actresses without looking at a giant TV screen. So yeah, there is that perspective. True.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm okay if I'm just in the room.
Well, that's the thing. I think we've often talked about whether you actually need to camp out overnight. I think the only necessity to camp out overnight, well, there's several really, but the necessities are getting as close as you possibly can to the front to get your ideal seat, and number two, the experience of the whole thing. It's why some of us actually line up for preview night, because we like being in the company of fellow enthusiasts and fellow nerds. I think that it's part of the fun of it. And yeah, I enjoyed camping out last year. It was a lot of fun.
I don't want to overlook 6BCF and some of the smaller rooms. Yeah. I find that that's where I end up mostly is 6BCF. Because I like those less popular shows. You know, Last Ship, Falling Skies. You know, that the NASA panels, those types of things, and don't underestimate how long it's going to take to get into some of those shows either. Like a few years ago, the Mythbusters, you had to have queued up for a couple of hours to get into it. And if that's one of your must-see panels, then make sure that you're there beforehand. The one nice thing is they don't police those lines as much as they police the Hall H lines. So I could, you know, I've been known to put my son in line, and go get us some drinks and food and come back 15 minutes, half an hour later. So,
well, he's got to serve his purpose somehow.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I pay for his ticket. He better line camp for me a little.
Oh man. Okay. Very quickly then to cover a couple of questions and also to cover the basic details of the halls. Hall H then is a 6,000 capacity room. It's actually just over 6,000, but that's how many are in there. Ballroom 20 is just under 5,000. It's technically about 4.9. Room BCF is part of. It's very similar to the exhibition floor in that it's one big space but separated down at top and bottom. So you kind of like as an exhibition centre, the rooms can be separated down. 6 BCF. You've got 3 areas there which are into a just over 2,000 capacity seating room. Over in the Hilton Bayfront, you do have the Indigo Ballroom, which is a 2,500 capacity room, and then you've got 6A, which is a 1,000 capacity room. People are asking about cutting. How do people? How do they keep people cutting in? Certainly for Hall H and Ballroom 20, it's very difficult because there is no official police line, as it were, for those two lines. Police line, monitoring line for those two. It's very difficult to monitor it. However, you often find that they become self-policing. People have been camped there or sat there for so many hours. They're going to make sure that people who just show up, they're going to get very short thrift. Indeed, I've seen it for myself that a gentleman showed up with his wife and his young kid and just decided to plonk himself in a small gap in the Hall H line in the tents. That didn't last long. It's mostly self-policing, purely because people are enthusiastic to be in that line in the first place, and they're not going to take too much in terms of people just jumping in. I will say, however, if you are thinking of doing where you're a part of a group, perhaps, and one person decides to get in the line to hold the space for the group, what I would suggest is what we've suggested every year: let the people around you know that there are more people coming. If most people will be accommodating. However, this is for, I'd say, groups of around 3, 4, 5 people. If you're placeholding for a group of 20 that show up 20 minutes before the doors doors open, you ain't going to be popular. Don't do it.
Not cool.
Not cool. What else? I mean, I don't know if anybody has any other questions in terms of the hall lines, and also what we want to discuss. I mean, people are actually asking, can you actually sleep in the lines? Jesse?
You can, but it's kind of difficult. I know my first year I actually slept a lot. Last year in 2014, I slept a grand total of 1 hour that entire night. So suffice it to say, by the end of Saturday, I was worn out.
Yeah.
But in a way,
also, I'll jump in on that and just say as well, and you'll agree with me on this one. It was made slightly difficult. At 1, 2 o'clock, all the parties that were taking place over at Petco and further up in Gaslamp were starting to wind down. It was turning into a nice evening, and we could finally get a couple of hours sleep. At which point, Andy Serkis showed up.
Yes.
And Lee Pace arrived.
Lee Pace.
At which point, we couldn't sleep because everyone was just buzzing off that. So thank you very much indeed, Andy Serkis and Lee Pace, you graceless bastards. I was also shattered on this Saturday as well. But that's also one of the exciting things about the outside lines. You've had Joss Whedon go up and down the line for Ballroom 20 when they had the Firefly panel. Like I say, we had Andy Serkis and Lee Pace last year. I missed it, but there was a couple of years back you had, well, you were there for that one.
Ian
for the
McKellen.
Hobbit. Ian McKellen came out.
Yes.
Well, sorry, Ian McKellen came and visited the group. He came out years ago. So yeah, he came to visit the line. So yeah, it's little things. It's one of those little moments that happen. So would I recommend or would I advise camping? If you've paid a lot of money for a hotel room and you're not overly that bothered about getting as close to the front as you need to be, I would say possibly not. However, in recent years, the time to get into the line, to even get in the room, has gotten further and further back. And you're looking not just at midnight, you're looking at 10, you're looking at 8 o'clock the previous evening. It's just so difficult to judge.
Which is why I tend to encourage people into looking at the smaller rooms and the 6BCFs and the like, because there are gems. I've got a whole thread. Every year we have a whole thread on hidden gems of just really cool stuff that's happening. That normally would be the headliner of any other convention, except that it's San Diego and you're competing with the Andy Serkises and the Joss Whedons. So they are out there, and you can manage to do a lot of really cool things without spending half the day in line.
Very true. Very true. I mean, I even know people that just skip the whole Ballroom 20, the panels thing altogether, and just check out the exhibition floor.
I look for a panel. I go through the schedule, and Monday through Thursday through Sunday, I look for a panel that happens at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I can sit down and eat my lunch, and just find something new. Sure. Who knew? That's how I found out about Supernatural. I just wandered into it one day, and it was really cool.
Okay, we've had a question from Dan Page. Hello, Dan. Asking, can the convention center? Oh, good grief! Can the convention center be done in one day?
No.
I would put. Yeah, I'm gonna say no on that one. The look of sheer shock on Alyssa's face then was priceless.
If you want to walk through every single aisle, then absolutely not. You cannot do it in one day, especially with all the people you have to compete with.
Yeah. The exhibition floor itself is just. I mean, if it's your first time, I think you're going to be shocked and stunned by just how big that room is. The amount of stuff you can see. You can walk from one end to the other, but you're not going to see much. And not only that, but you have got. I mean, you could spend an entire day in Artist Alley. You could spend an entire day down by the TV section. That's just the exhibition floor. Like I say, you've also got the panel rooms upstairs. You've got the Nintendo and Xbox rooms dotted around. You've got the other panels rooms in the hotels. You've got off-site events. That's the great thing about San Diego Comic-Con. You can throw a stone and it'll just...
Just like with the panels, you have to decide what you want. I mean, if you're a comic book person, then you can see all of the comic related stuff on the floor in one day. If you're like the movie booths, you can hang around the movie booths, but to do everything, no.
Yeah. There you go. Pretty simple answer on that one. Dan, see what you can. And yeah, do check out, when the schedules start rolling out, do check out what tickled your fancy and what you do like the sound of.
I mean, you can spend an entire afternoon at the Marvel booth because they give out stuff, especially on Sunday afternoon, all afternoon long.
Yeah, and the Fox and WB booth. Oh yeah.
Yes.
and then you start wrapping in the book allays, and your bag is heavy by the time you're done with Book Alley, and you've got your reading material for 6 months if you don't read a lot.
Sure. Unless, of course, well, I mean, yeah, I mean. I picked up a number of books this year. I think that was something that I hadn't done before, that I did pick up a bunch of previews Yeah, I did a fair amount of that. We've got Robert Thornton who's joined us on the Q&A. I walked up and got into Hall H for Supernatural on Sunday. We got there around 7:30 in the morning. Shouldn't be too hard to get in. You see, you lie, you two. You lies.
No. That was probably when after Doctor Who, because it was the combination of the Doctor Who and the Supernatural fans. You know, it was that combination.
Yeah.
So that very well could have been in 14. It will be interesting to see what's in Hall H on Sunday for 15.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you want to sit in the, if you want to sit way in the back, then sure, you could walk right in. But if you want to get closer to the front, then you do have to line up. You know, it's that simple.
Yes, Jesse, absolutely. Yes, I think you're a little crazy, but that's okay.
At least you'll be in the room.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still get some of the atmosphere of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
There we go. Very quickly, coming back to who could be appearing. Neil Williamson is saying Lionsgate's schedule is showing The Last Witch Hunter, which is the Vin Diesel movie, the Vatican tapes, and Mockingjay Part 2. Not exactly the headliners for Saturday in Hall H. He's coming down on Lionsgate hard there, I think, but I think you're right, absolutely right. But then again, I think Lionsgate have become that kind of studio where they do not the. I mean, I think Mockingjay is possibly their biggest property, so and they haven't exactly banked on the on some valuable properties in recent years, unfortunately. Let's see, what else have we got? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, everyone is just pretty much kind of. James Ormston, if Doctor Who is there this year, there'll be no walking in on Sunday.
Yes.
Very true.
I think that's true, but then again, I think it's also depending on Doctor Who being at Comic-Con ever again. And I think if Stephen Moffat is running it, it ain't going to happen. There you go. That's my opinion on it. Yeah. Because Stephen Moffat has already thrown his bat and ball home when it comes to San Diego Comic-Con. He's already said before that it was a shame that there was so much spoiler happening on YouTube over the 50th anniversary, and he just didn't feel that it was. I don't think it's worth him going back.
Have we talked about X-Files showing up?
Ooh.
Oh, for the.
I never thought about X-Files.
Well, I don't see. Well, I mean, which is that? Is that another Netflix show?
No.
Who's that with?
No.
It's going to be on Fox.
It's going to be on. Oh, okay. So there we go. That's that's another big panel that could happen. I don't think it'll be as big as the reunion panel, purely because I don't think anyone. I think everyone felt, well, we're not going to be seeing them together again in this kind of setting. But yeah, we've got a new series due. That could be cool. We find out, by the way, people have been also asking about, first timers have been asking about when we find out about schedules. They're usually released about 2 weeks before Comic-Con. So we're talking another month and a half yet. So calm down.
But keep an eye on the hashtag SDCC, because the Twitter announcements are starting to come out.
Well, yeah, I mean,
is there another handle? Is there another handle to cover?
No, not really. I mean, SDCC and SDCC 2015 are usually the ones I keep an eye on. Something that I don't know if we covered in the news previous. Oh no, the panels. Yes, we did. Panels are being confirmed. They are not allowed at the moment to announce specific details, such as dates and times, purely because at the moment, I can imagine there's a huge pinboard with a lot of post-it notes on, and they're just moving things around to make everything fit. But I'm certain that the details will start rolling out very soon indeed. But for the full confirmed schedules, you're looking at 2 weeks prior.
And David has said, just to remind everybody, that they intentionally schedule things side by each, so you're going to get you will get torn into. You know, you want to go see the Marvel and you want to go see the DC or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too at San Diego
Yeah.
Comic-Con, unfortunately.
Yeah, there will be choices, hard choices to be made.
The embarrassment of riches.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've, unless there's any more questions, I think we've pretty much talked out on all of the big room nonsense. If there's any more questions, of course, if you want to use SDCC Toolkit throughout the week and also Cup of Tea SDCC, I do pay attention to those hashtags. If there's any questions, do let us know and we'll cover them either next week or I'll try and answer them on the Twitters. Do let us know.
Or ask them on the forum.
Or indeed ask them on the forum. This is something that I've now spotted on my Facebook, and I'm loath to say it because
Spit it out.
Yeah, I sent a message to David Glanzer and Eddie Ibrahim to ask if they would be willing to take part. By the way, if you're a first timer and you're not too sure about these names we keep throwing out, David Glanzer is the Director of Press and Public Relations for CCI, and Eddie Ibrahim is the Programming Manager for Hall H. Basically asking if they'd be willing to take part in today's hangout. They are wanting all communication with every department to go via David, at which point he then turned around and said, with last-minute notice, we can't participate appropriately. However, if you're checking your Facebook, I can answer a question or two. Right.
Of course.
Of course. Next week, I'm going to be asking him again. Okay? If there's any questions that you want, we'll put them to David, and we'll see if he answers on his Facebook. Sorry.
Cool.
I'm so sorry, but okay. Damn it. Wasted opportunity. Okay. If there's anything else, I think I've just got a competition to do. But has anyone got anything else that anyone wants to talk about? I think we've... Yeah? No?
Think of me on Wednesday when I'm buying tickets, hopefully, for New York Comic Con, so I can see my Daredevil. Oh, Ant-Man!
You really want to see Daredevil. You really want to see that, don't you? Okay. Right. One of the things we're going to be talking about in about a couple of weeks' time on the off-site events is all the parties, all the things that you can do outside of the convention center. This will hopefully include more details about Nerd HQ. However, one of the things which has gotten quite a buzz over the recent years is the Sherlock Party. This is organized by the Baker Street Babes. This is the fan-based group around Sherlock. Cracking show. They did their first party, it was either 2 years ago or the year before, and they have had some great people just showing up. Indeed, Stephen Moffat, who's the showrunner for Doctor Who and Sherlock, he was in town at the time. He was there with his partner Sue Verity, Mark Gatiss, and Osric Shao from Supernatural. They all showed up at the party. It's a hell of a thing, and it's a great celebration of Sherlock. Sherlock, sorry. It's a fantastic event, and it's very, very nearly sold out. If you do want to find out more details on this, let me just see if I can pull up the details here. Because if you do want to head to a website, which I have, which a link, if someone, I think it's probably going to be Alyssa, if you can just put this up on the comments. It's only a few amount of damn it, a few amount of tickets left. If you head to, that's right, Sherlocked CC 2015. Full stop bpt.me. That's the most confusing bloody website going. So Sherlocked, SHERLOCKED CC 2015.bpt.me. We're gonna have to
really making you work for it, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? They really are. Okay.
Yeah, bp.me?
Yeah, bpt.me. Okay. We're gonna put the link up somewhere because it's the only way.
SHERO LOCKED 2015.bptme. Yeah,
Not quite. No.
Oh,
I'll read it out again.
Don't go to the first one.
I'm doing it once, and this is it. Last time. You ready? SHERLOCKED .bpt.me. Okay, that's it. Done. Go and check that link out. Okay, there's only a few tickets left. However, we can now give out 2 here on the Hangout, and between now and next week, you've got the chance to enter this competition. Okay, it's going to take place on Friday, July the 10th, from 7 till 10 on the 9th floor of the San Diego Central Library. It's 2 balconies overlooking Petco Park and Gaslamp. It's a hell of a venue. There's free buffet, cash bar with themed drinks, photo booth, merch, giveaways, raffle, tons of games to give away with free stuff, live music on the balcony, and you never know who's going to show up. It's a hell of a party, okay? We are now going to give away 2 tickets to this event, all right? And you have 7 days. We're going to give away the tickets next week's show, all right? We asked the Baker Street Babes for a question, and this is the question. What was the name of the meat company in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hounds of the Baskervilles? Okay. What was the name of the meat company in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hounds of the Baskervilles? If you can tweet us on Cup of Tea SDCC, just use the hashtag for this hangout. Tweet us the answer. Okay. We will randomly draw a winner of 2 tickets to this party next week. Okay. Once again, then, what is the name of the meat company in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hounds of the Baskervilles? Best of luck. So there we go.
Leonard, can you tweet out with the hashtag? Can you for the cup of tea? Can you also tweet out that the Baker's?
The link.
Yeah, please, because
I'll do that.
I'm trying to find it. Helping.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, you've actually put the link up there on the Q&A, and that's right.
Oh, nice.
What's betting they've actually given it to me wrong? Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out. I'll get the right panel. Yeah, I'll get it and sort it out. So that's the question. You've got 7 days. Tweet it to me, Cup of Tea SDCC. Spread the word as well. Let people know about the competition, and let's see if we can get some people winning a pair of tickets to the Sherlock party this Comic-Con. So there we go. Right, thank you very much indeed to everyone for joining us. Thanks to my guest, Jesse. Thanks for coming along, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully we're actually possibly going to get Jesse back again next week, but we're also going to be joined by Jason as well from Nerd Truth. So that could be cool.
The mysterious Jason.
So. The mysterious Jason, yes. That could be excellent. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see you in 7 days' time, sir.
Thank you very much, so.
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find us at thenerdtruth.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Can I plug my podcast for a minute, Leonard?
Go for it.
All right. We do a podcast called Horse Persons of the Nerdpocalypse. We do it usually every 2 weeks. Where it's me and Jason and Rachel Bueno, and we basically just get together and talk about nerdy things and just catch up because we live in different states. And we have a new episode that I'll be posting this afternoon. But next week we're going to be at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, and we're going to do one live, actually in the same room, which is going to be nice. And we're going to drunk commentate the movie Green Lantern. So be sure to check that out.
Great. If there's ever a film that absolutely deserves to get drunk watching it, it's Green Lantern. Good
exactly.
Lord. Okay, that could be.
It's going to be interesting.
That I'm looking forward to seeing or hearing. Indeed, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Jesse. And Alyssa, thank you very much indeed for joining us as well.
Thank you. I had fun as always, Leonard.
Excellent. As always, you can find Alyssa on friendsofcci.com/forum. So there we go. Right, my name's been Leonard Sultana. You can find me at Englishman SDCC. Hashtag CupOT SDCC, and you can use that hashtag for our competition for those 2 tickets for the Sherlock's party. We'll be doing the draw first thing next Sunday. So hopefully you can join us for that.
You heard it here. He promises he'll do it first thing.
It'll be the first thing I do. It's going to be the
now
first
you have
thing
to do it, Leonard.
I know. Right, do take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully you spend some time with your mum at some point today, especially my American colleagues. If it's Mother's Day in the States, go and spend some time with your mum, because, you know, she kind of deserves it. Do take care. Well, you know, unless, of course, you're Alyssa, in which case, leave her alone for an afternoon, okay? I'm talking to Alyssa's son now. Just leave her alone for a bit, all right? Just give her a bit of breathing. Yeah. Okay. Do take care. We'll see you next Sunday, and do take enjoy your week. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.